Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. If you have a car question for Bobby, call now at 1-800-264-5454, toll free from anywhere in America. And now, here's your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome to this edition of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. We also open our 888 number for you at 888 Car Clinic. That's 888-227-2546. I want to welcome you to today's program. This weekend is the North American International Auto Show, and last evening they had a huge sort of a pre-show charity event. I'll tell you a little bit about that when I come back from the break. Very interesting. I will share this with you. $5.34 million was raised for kids' charity last night at Cobo Hall in Detroit at the North American International Auto Show. I see we have John and Robert and another call coming in, so it's going to be a fast-paced show today. Thanks for calling. Thanks for tuning in. I'm here to help you. Just consider me, Bobby Likis, your personal car consultant. This segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic is brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Sign up to be an O Rewards member today and start earning instantly $5 back for every $150 you spend. It's fast, easy, and free, and only at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. See store for details. Also, this segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic brought to you by K&N, the original performance air filter of NASCAR. And now you can buy cabin air filters from K&N. No more replacements, just clean that one. That's a real coup. It's a great service that K&N brings. Back with your calls. Don't touch your dial. This mailbag is brought to you by K&N, the world's best air filter. Bob in Connecticut writes,
Bobby, I was working outside yesterday cutting wood with my chainsaw, and my neighbor dropped by. He jokingly said I should put a K&N filter in my saw. So later that day, I was online and just for fun went to knfilters.com to see. I was surprised to find K&N actually does make a filter for my saw. I was amazed at how many filters K&N makes. I listen to your show regularly and hear you mention K&N filters. I just didn't realize all the things they make filters for.
Thanks for writing and listening, Bob. Yes, K&N covers so many applications from A to Z, and they're adding innovative products all the time. We've recently talked about their new cabin air filters, fuel filters, and heavy-duty filters, just to name a few. And if you need to filter air, oil, or fuel, visit knfilters.com. That's knfilters.com. This Tire Maintenance Minute is brought to you by General Tire and the all-new Ultimax RT43, a smarter tire for a smarter driver. Want to go farther on your tires? Check tire pressure monthly, including your spare. Underinflated tires can decrease MPG and steering control, while overinflation results in a harsher ride. During your monthly pressure checks, inspect tires for cuts or abrasion, then once a year, have your alignment evaluated. Improperly aligned tires will wear prematurely and even drag themselves on the road, ultimately reducing MPG. Finally, rotate and balance tires every 6 to 10,000 miles. Out-of-balance tires can bounce, which causes tire chop, wear issues, and an unstable vehicle. Drive to GeneralTire.com to learn more about the all-new Ultimax RT43, a smarter tire for a smarter driver. The Ultimax RT43 is designed for a quiet, comfortable ride that includes industry-leading Smart View technologies. For more details, drive to GeneralTire.com.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Another great place to use Visa.
They giggle and jiggle, they jump and they sing, they poke and they play with most wondrous things. And that's just the parents. At Creative Kid Stuff in Minneapolis, you'll find the most enchanting toys and games for kids of all ages. But if you want to bring home their innovative playthings, you better bring your Visa card. Because at Creative Kid Stuff, you can let your child's imagination run wild, but you can't use American Express. Visa, it's everywhere you want to be.
You start my morning, you stir my soul, you warm my heart, make me feel whole. Your aroma calls me, it starts my morning. Happy morning, your name is Folgers Mountain Grow. Now you're here, the aroma helps me wake, and the day is mine to take. The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
Okay, let's get started with today's time together. Thank you for tuning in. It's going to be a fast show, a great show. We already have a bank of calls. I'll just remind you that number's 888 Car Clinic. That's 888-227-2546. I want to reach out to Big Spring, Texas. KBYG 1400 AM. John Weeks and Joe Murphy, General Manager and Program Director for our Car Clinic affiliate, KBYG 1400 AM in Big Spring, Texas. If you tuned in and you're listening to KBYG, give us a call at 888 Car Clinic. I mentioned the North American International Auto Show. We're going to go to Howard, first caller in and first caller up, but I want to remind you that I'll be sharing with you some information from that show, and that show is all about luxury vehicles and trucks and electric vehicles and a lot more. It's the 2015 North American International Auto Show, which kicked off this week, and it features more than 500 vehicles on display. And folks, these vehicles represent the most innovative designs in the world. And as I mentioned at the open of the show, I just want to share this with you because this is another part of the automotive industry that I'm so proud of. The tickets, the cost of tickets for this preview charity event last night from 6 to 10 p.m. at the Cobo Hall were $400 a piece, of which $390 went to kids' charity. 13,350 tickets, $5.34 million, 5,000 bottles of champagne. Steve Miller Band was there. Ford Motor Company, Mark Fields, the president and CEO, GM, the CEO, Mary Barra, and Ford Chair, of course, Bill Ford was there. U.S. Senator Gary Peters and Detroit Mayor Mike Dugan, and some 13,490 others, of which I won't take your valuable time to mention or to list, but we're going to get and hear some information from some folks from the show. But first, Howard in Florida. My stomping grounds. Howard, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Thank you very much for taking my call.
You're welcome.
This is concerning the traction control on my new vehicle. I've never had traction control before.
Okay.
And there's a button that you could take the traction control off.
Yes, sir.
What I did when I purchased it, I'm in South Florida, and I spoke to the guy in charge of the maintenance of the car, and he said there's no reason for you ever to take that that traction control off. So I said, but there has to be a reason. I mean, why did they put it there? Then I was thinking, I have an idea.
Okay.
Because I go to North Carolina in the dead of winter sometime, and there's snowstorm. You know North Carolina, so it could be snowy at times. Now, I was thinking if I ever got stuck in a snowbank, I think I'm better off without. To get out, I'm better off without the traction control to bust out of a snowbank. Am I correct?
Well, I would, yes. On those circumstances, that's why they do give you that option. I mean, and you're right. And you'll notice, Howard, that even and the way cars are set up, even if you push the button and you disengage the traction control, when you reboot the car, when you turn the engine off and fire it, it will default back to the standard traction control because that's a safety issue. And just for you to know, that traction control, and I could actually go both ways with regard to whether or not you should use it in the snow, because I was actually at Mikiglisi, which is a mountaintop in Quebec, in Canada, and I was testing tires. And we went, we had a drag strip there. Well, it wasn't a drag strip. It was maybe a 300-foot skid pad. And we stopped under emergency situations. We were testing tires. So we had 4 different brands of tires we were testing. And we would drag race, and then we would panic stop. And then also they had a course there where you had like the top of a hill that was sort of an obstacle course, and you just go around and around. And I'd say it was maybe the size of a football field, and as we went around, you would start to lose control and drift into a bank, and the traction control, Howard, literally would if you're skidding to the left, the right rear brake would lock up and it would right the car, and I was amazed at how smart that traction control was. So I'm not sure. I think what you should do, just for your own education, is on some rainy day when you have slick roads, and make sure that you're in a place where there's no traffic and a back street or something. Just from a stop sign, nail the throttle and watch that traction control take over. It does things you couldn't possibly do. It's unbelievable. Reminds me of autonomous cars that drive themselves that we're going to be seeing. The traction control uses the ABS, the anti-skid brake system, and the engine's throttle control to keep you safer and to keep the car on track, so to speak. So that's why it's called traction control. Anyway, but I'm with you. You can certainly learn a little more about it, but I would err to the on side always versus the other side unless you're in a position where you can just do some testing. You got it?
Thank you very much, Bob.
You're welcome very much. Great question. We'll take another question from, let's go to Mississippi. Robert, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Good morning, Bobby.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Well, I hadn't figured that point out yet. Bobby, I've recently purchased a 2002 SUV, Nissan Exterior.
Yes, sir.
And a check engine light was on. And it was missing. Went to a local service station, bought some gas, and it all but quit running. Bad gas. And we got to check it, my mechanic and I, and we found, not my mechanic, a friend of mine, we got checking, and the O2 sensor on the passenger side was unplugged.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we plugged it back up.
Okay.
And I got a can of this P&P and put in the tank.
Uh-huh.
Pour and pray.
Oh, I was going to ask you what P&P was. Pour and pray. Yeah, and folks, and you're so right, Robert. In the industry, there are we use a lot of pour and prays. We use a lot of add-ins and add-ons and oil additives and fuel additives, but we use them for prevention of repair and to clean out the fuel system. Rarely do, and we also use them when we do induction system cleaning as an add-on or a follow-on. And what Robert's talking about here is that some car owners, a lot of car owners and a lot of do-it-yourselfers will have a problem with the car, and they go to a parts store and they buy a product and they pour it in the gas tank and they pray that it fixes the car. So that's where that's what the P&P stands for. But anyway, I'll turn the mic back to you, Robert. Please continue.
All right, thank you. But anyhow, the truck was, I call it a truck. It's SUV, but I call it a truck,
right,
so I won't get in trouble. But anyhow, I poured this stuff in there, and we put it on the computer, and it said O2 sensor. Okay. So we got checking, we plugged it up.
Right.
Pour and pray in there, and it helped for a little while. I put it another service station up here, a local service station, and got some bad gas, Bobby, and it got to missing so bad. And we hooked it back up on the computer, and it said it was multi misfiring.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Pretty sure it's going to be in your plug wires. So plug wires have been changed on this vehicle. I changed the plug wires, and it's running a little bit better. But when it shifts gears, when it shifts into overdrive,
right,
it goes to fluttering and skipping.
Well, you see, exactly right. What I believe you're going to have is coil problems, and here's why. As you know, just like riding a bicycle, first gear, pretty easy, second, third, fourth. But if you're just going 2 miles an hour and you shift that bike into 10th gear, your legs will say, hey, wait a minute, I don't have the power to stroke this pedal. Same thing is true for engines, especially if they have a deficiency in the coil, or and as you know, the more strain you put on an engine, the harder it is to fire the spark plug. And what happens is when you've got a coil that has an internal leak, if everything's pretty easy to go, like first gear, and you're not going up a hill, and there's no load on the engine, it might appear to run pretty well. But as you shift into the taller gear, into the higher gear, into overdrive, as you said, Robert, as you shift into overdrive, that load goes back on the engine, and the engine said, wait a minute, I got a problem here, and that's where the coil will misfire. So I believe, and especially when you said multiple misfires, I immediately thought about coils and those sorts of things. So here's what I would recommend. And also you can have lean mixture. A lean mixture would cause that as well.
It says it's running real lean on the passenger.
Absolutely. And so what you want to make sure, two things I would do. I would look at the coils or maybe rescan again, but I would put a new fuel filter on that vehicle. We changed that fuel filter on was a Mazda in here yesterday, a truck, and we changed the fuel. I don't think that filter had ever been changed. The vehicle had 97,000 miles on it, and I really was excited because Zach, who is our ASE certified technician, pulled that filter off at my request, because this car came in on the hook, it didn't run, and we back poured that fuel, and what we got out of that fuel tank was some pretty rancid stuff, and it wasn't bad fuel. It was an accumulation of debris over its 97,000 miles. Hey, thanks for your call, Robert. And folks, Rob Filipovic is going to join me when we come back. He's a general manager in product planning for Jaguar Land Rover of North America, and then back with your calls.
O'Reilly.
Protect your wheels and tires from harmful elements and restore shine with Armor All Extreme Tire Shine or Wheel Cleaner on sale at O'Reilly Auto Parts for $3.99 each. Clean, shine, and protect your wheels and tires with Armor All Extreme Tire Shine or Wheel Cleaner at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Let's go to our Car Clinic inbox for another listener question. Dear Bobby, I'm confused. Are radar detectors legal? Yes. Good news is that radar detectors are entirely legal in 49 states. Only Virginia and the District of Columbia still have radar detector use prohibitions. Legal in 49 states because the modern view of radar detectors is far beyond ticket avoidance. Rather, radar detectors are now regarded as safety devices, providing increased and advanced driving awareness. For example, when you have an advanced warning of a potential road hazard, such as a law enforcement officer conducting a traffic stop on the side of the road, you won't be surprised on your approach, and you won't be involved in any sudden braking or loss of control mid-course response. A really good radar detector, such as the award-winning Passport Max all-digital radar detector, alerts drivers before they're surprised with stops up ahead. With a Passport Max high-definition radar detector from Escort, you can drive smarter, and you can drive safer. Spending more time at the pump? Vehicle warm-ups taking longer? Maybe time to replace your engine's thermostat. Your engine's ability to reach and maintain proper operating temperature is key to better fuel economy, optimum performance, and lower emissions. Stance Superstat features heavy-duty springs to return the thermostat to the closed position and prevent cold running, and Superstat's unique design more accurately meters coolant until desired engine temp is reached. For more reasons to choose a Superstat, drive to stant.com.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Oh, Steve, it's so romantic camping at night.
Yeah. Hey, you want a mint?
I didn't know Trident makes mints. What was that?
Just a rabbit or a squirrel.
Oh, it's a bear!
I see it.
Do something, it's getting closer.
Wow!
Aw, look, he likes our breath.
Trident introduces new Trident Advantage Mints, the great-tasting sugarless mint that strengthens teeth and helps reduce the risk of tooth decay.
Can you get the bear to stop licking my mouth?
New Trident Advantage Mints, the good for your teeth mint.
Good day, ladies.
Hi.
I'm Willie Works, here to talk to you about how to get rid of those tough, embedded odors in the laundry.
You know what I've been doing?
What?
I've been soaking some of my husband's T-shirts in a baking soda solution.
Oh.
Now that seems to help.
Sometimes I boil them in vinegar.
Oh.
Yeah, that could help.
Oh, ladies, there's an easier way.
Really?
Febreze for the wash.
Oh.
Just add a capful with your detergent and odors disappear.
Really? One wash is all it takes?
Yep, Febreze for the wash. One cap, one wash.
And say goodbye to odors.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Great broadcast today. Call with your questions at 888 Car Clinic. The 2015 North American International Auto Show kicked off recently and features more than 500 vehicles on display representing the most innovative designs in the world. Rob Filipovic, General Manager, Product Planning for Jaguar Land Rover North America, is on the hotline now to give Car Clinic audiences the inside scoop on the exciting Jaguar Land Rover event events taking place at the North American International Auto Show. Having said that, a big welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic, Rob. Glad to have you in the house.
Oh, absolute pleasure to be joining you today. A really thrilling time here in Detroit, so I'm happy to take some time.
I understand, and if you would, share with our Car Clinic listeners, Rob, and the viewers exactly what Jaguar Land Rover is showcasing at the Detroit Auto Show, and what's been the highlight of this year's motor show from the Jaguar Land Rover team.
Yeah, it's actually a action-packed one for us. We had 3 big announcements here in Detroit this year, 2 global and 1 North American premiere. On the global side, one of the big pieces on the Jaguar brand, we've announced that we're going into production with the F-Pace. It's the first ever performance crossover from the brand. We're absolutely thrilled to bring that into production. It'll be heavily based off of the CX-17 concept car that we revealed just over a year ago. The second big piece of news is bringing diesel to North America. And that one's thrilling. That'll actually be across both the Jaguar and Land Rover brands, and it'll cover every single product line except for F-Type. So you can expect all those diesels over the next couple of years. The first one's being the Range Rover and Range Rover Sport later this year. And then we have the North American premiere of the Jaguar XE. Thrilling piece of kit from our side. And it brings us back into the compact sedan segment with what we think is absolute kind of the distilling Jaguar into a nice small form, fantastic performance, design, and luxury on the interior. So we got lots to talk about.
You know, Rob, with the XE is, of course, an aluminum vehicle, as I understand, and being rolled out there in Detroit. What I'd like for you to do with regard to the XE is share with us the target audience. Who's going to buy that car, and what demo is that targeted for?
Yeah, the primary target for that one really is a significantly younger customer group. Jaguar, we've already been playing kind of in the heart of the luxury segment as far as our average age, just over 50 years. But what we're looking to do with the XE is really bring a much younger demographic. So I think we sparked a lot of people's interest over the last couple of years with the F-Type. And now with the XE, we're going to follow that up with something that's more affordable for them, also a little bit smaller. So fits in with, I think, a lifestyle that we may not be addressing today with our great XF and XJ product line. So it really is kind of that expansion into new price points, new younger customer groups.
Jaguar Land Rover's brand is upscale in the American market. Let's talk about the most luxurious aspect of the 2015-2016 model year. Give us the upscale versions.
Yeah, on the upscale side of it, you can't get much more upscale than what we've been doing with the Range Rover side, particularly the Autobiography Black. So expect more out of us from that perspective as far as taking luxury to the extreme and at our highest price point. Part of the Range Rover side as well, we'll introduce the new V6 diesel on that vehicle. So getting, for the first time on a Range Rover, 28 miles per gallon highway. It's an improvement of 32% over today's vehicle. And you only give up about 0.2 of a second in 0 to 60 time. So absolutely fantastic there. And then the other great piece that will be going on sale later this year that we revealed last year, actually, is the Project 7 F-Type. So that'll go into production in very limited numbers, only 50 for North America, but really a thrilling piece. A lot, extensive use of carbon fiber throughout the car. We actually eliminate the soft top even to save weight. It'll be the fastest Jaguar we've ever produced out of a regular production car.
Well, the F-Type is amazing. I've seen those cars. I've actually driven one. We're talking with Rob Filipovic, General Manager of Product Planning for Jaguar Land Rover North America from the North American International Auto Show. Rob, you've also recently unveiled a number of technology concepts. Share with our Car Clinic listeners and viewers more about these and when we might expect to see them on the road in Jaguar cars.
Yeah, I think the most thrilling piece of technology that we've released in recent time is In Control app. That went on sale last summer on the F-Type and various products in the Land Rover range. And what is great about it basically delivers exactly what all our customers have been asking for a long time, which is basically replicating their phone in the dashboard and letting them use the touchscreen there. What's fantastic is just in LA last November, we announced a partnership with CloudCar and our new Just Drive app, which is an absolute industry first. It'll actually be available later this month for customers to download, and it'll work on any vehicle with In Control app. It basically takes all your music, navigation. It even brings in things like messaging and lets you control everything with simple voice commands. So it can be as easy as play Led Zeppelin, and it'll scour all your music sources and start playing it for you. But it's a huge game changer for us, and what we think really puts us at the head of the industry in terms of in-car entertainment.
We're excited to see diesel in the U.S., as you talked about a little earlier. When do these options actually go on sale, and share with our Car Clinic listeners about the fuel economy they can expect to get out of a Jaguar with a diesel engine.
Absolutely. Well, the first diesels for us will be on the Land Rover side of the house, and that'll be the Range Rover and Range Rover Sport. And those will be available as soon as this fall. So a huge, huge improvement there in fuel economy. As I said, very similar performance, being able to get just over 7 seconds 0 to 60, but at 28 miles per gallon on the highway. On the Jaguar side, actually, next year we'll launch diesel on both the XE and the F-Pace, and expect something highway miles per gallon that starts with a 4. Can't share final numbers there. It's still undergoing testing, but it'll be one of the most efficient cars in its class.
We're talking with Rob Filipovic, General Manager and Product Planning for Jaguar Land Rover North America. Rob, just one last question. You've announced the F-Pace vehicle. Folks, that's a new Jaguar crossover. Just give us the 30,000-foot view of what this car looks like and when we can expect to see that on the showroom floors.
Sure. The F-Pace, it is very heavily inspired by the CX-17 concept car that we showed last year. And that was one that basically had jaws dropping all around the world. So it's one that we're thrilled to actually be bringing into production. It will be pretty true to form as far as what the concept represented, and it'll be available as soon as next year. So 2016 will definitely be an extremely busy year for the Jaguar brand with a lot of fantastic new product coming to launch.
Rob, thanks for joining us on Bobby Likis Car Clinic. One final question, a website so that our Car Clinic listeners and viewers can get more information about the new Jaguar Land Rover line.
Absolutely. JaguarUSA.com for all the great Jaguar announcements, and then LandRoverUSA.com for the same on the Land Rover side.
Perfect. I'll let you get back to the show. Thank you so much for your time. Rob Filipovic, General Manager, Product Planning for Jaguar Land Rover North America. Rob, it's been a pleasure having you join us on Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Great being with you today, too, Bobby.
What a cool, that Cobo Hall is buzzing today as we speak in Detroit. And as I mentioned earlier on, folks, last night there were 13,350 tickets sold that raised $5.34 million for kids' charities. And it's all about automobiles and the new cars that you will be seeing, and maybe you are already driving. I'm Bobby Likis. This is Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Give us a call at 888-CAR Clinic, 888-227-2546. Miss Kim will take your call and put you in the queue, and I will put you on the air. Joining us on the air now is John. John, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Thanks for holding.
Bobby, thank you so much. It was enjoyable to hear that gentleman talk about those Land Rovers.
Beautiful cars, yes.
I have two subjects I'd like to talk with you, but the van, the Caravan 02, which has a gas mileage problem, that's one. But I have something on the 2014. They came out yesterday, said 2014 was the hottest global temperatures around the globe in history. Mm-hmm. Scientists keep up with all that. It's obviously accurate. I like a locomotive is what I've been promoting for years. And I think that eventually the world will be inspired to understand that we need to run every vehicle from the smallest up to the largest like a locomotive operates. And we're going to decrease consumption of gas and diesel by about 80% while we get great gas mileage over 100 miles per gallon, up to 400 miles per gallon like the locomotives do, pulling a ton of freight. Mm-hmm. And I think I've never had a call back on this from my website where I explain something about that. I'm wanting to develop some race machines that will operate that way. And hopefully, if you'll let me say the website again today, maybe someone will jump on this and we can get like a locomotive vehicles developed. The other subject I have is a life or death matter. I'm a Florida native like you are. My wife's a public school teacher. In high school, I took driver's ed. Driver's ed was great. It was a volunteer thing. You didn't have to take elective. I think in high school, driver's ed should be mandatory, and I hope your program can get on with that, and you can help state of Florida start with that. Get it into the public schools as a mandatory high school for those who can drive, and I realize a few cannot, but those who can drive must take it. Just like taking English or math, you must take those. That's good. And now, okay, I'll hush up and let you say something about that.
Well, as far as the driver's ed, my driver's ed came, of course, that was many years ago, came from OJT, like on-job training. And I drove, obviously, before I had a driver's license. And so I learned from mistakes. I wouldn't compare someone who's not a car person to someone who is with regard to understanding of an automobile. And I'll clarify myself by saying that the driver's ed training programs that we've seen absolutely will make drivers safer. Why? Because you go through the exercise of driving a vehicle with someone in the car to help supervise and show you where you make your mistakes. And to that end, while I said I didn't have driver's ed, I was my own driver's ed. I was devastated when I turned 16 and went down to get my driver's license, and I failed the test. And John, you can imagine me as the car guy I was and have been all my life. And I asked the gentleman, why did you fail me? He said, how long have you been driving? And I said, a couple of years. And he said, you cut corners, which means you don't go to the intersection and turn left like you would a square left turn. He said, you cut corners, and drivers that have bad habits and have been driving for a while, that's one of their habits, because you see there's no one in the left lane or in the parking lane or in the stop where you turn, so you cut that corner. And so you're right, and I agree with driver's ed. I'm not so sure that, in fact, I am sure that, as I understand, 19-year-old age group today, less than 50% have a driver's license that are 19 years old. That's unheard of from my era, and the reason is that you can use your iPhones and laptops to visit without having to drive over to Tom, Dick, or Harry's house. I mean, that's just the way it is. So there's I think we will see in the future, and we are seeing a next generation that's not going to be as crazy about automobiles as we are. And so that's one of the things that I understand. And John, I will let you share your website, but we have to move on. So your website is?
The Sports Commissioner, JohnJoyner.com.
Thank you, John. Thank you so much. The Sports Commissioner, John Joyner. Always great to hear from you. And coming back, we're going to have more Car Clinic. Don't touch your dial. Let's go to the Car Clinic inbox today, where Jim in Philadelphia asks, Dear Bobby, how do I go about choosing the right tire for my vehicle? Jim, first, get the factory recommended tire size, which can be found on a label on the driver's doorpost. Then, consider the elements of load and speed rating to match your driving style. But don't stop there. Think of smart, new technology like General Tire's innovative replacement tire monitor. No guesswork determining when your tires need to be replaced. When tires wear to 2/32 inch of tread depth, General Tire's replacement tire monitor reads, Replace tire on the tire itself, alerting the driver a change is needed. Imagine the peace of mind when the tire itself lets you know it's time for a change. General Tire, celebrating its 100th birthday this year, is committed to safety, performance, and innovation. For details, drive to GeneralTire.com.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Bob, what's new? Last night I get in my truck, and in the back seat is one of those supermodels. Says she always wanted to meet a man who owned a sauerkraut factory. We're eating sauerkraut. She's wiping juice off my chin. I get heartburn. I pull out my Rolaids, and in under 10 seconds, it starts working. Then she's gone, and so's my heartburn.
Rolade starts working in under 10 seconds? You expect me to believe that?
It's true. Rolade starts neutralizing acid in under 10 seconds. ROLAIDS spells relief. Use as directed.
Another lending success story from LendingTree.com.
Now, I'm not a financial wizard or anything, so when I needed a mortgage, I went to LendingTree. I filled out one simple form, banks and lenders competed over it, and I got 4 offers back within hours. Maybe I am a wizard after all.
Visit LendingTree.com or call 1-800-555-TREE. That's 1-800-555-TREE. When banks compete, you win at LendingTree.com. Equal housing opportunity. For additional information and state license disclosures, please visit our website located at LendingTree.com.
And now for the bonus round. If Rome wasn't built in a day, how long did it take?
3 business days. Oh, plus 1 Saturday.
Correct.
Oh.
A good man is hard to find. Why?
Because he's so small.
Correct. Netflix delivers movies by mail, and now what other way?
Directly to your TV.
Correct! Netflix now delivers movies 2 ways, instantly to your TV, plus DVDs by mail. Watch as many TV episodes and movies as you want for only $9 a month. Netflix! See terms of use.
Some original thinking by Starbucks barista Bob Glenn.
My idea of a Starbucks experience is the sense of community. I love people, and what working at Starbucks has allowed me to do is get involved in people's lives more directly. What I think is so great about Starbucks coffee being available in the grocery store now is that Starbucks selects the coffee, roasts the coffee, packages the coffee to enjoy it, and not just to enjoy it necessarily by yourself, but really to enjoy it with other people.
Your favorite Starbucks coffee. At grocery, at home, at last.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And thank you for tuning in to today's Global Cast. This is Bobby Likis Car Clinic at WatchBobbyLive.com and our AM and FM Car Clinic affiliate stations across the nation. I'm Bobby Likis. Just consider me your personal car consultant. If you have a question about your automobile, or you're maybe you're not quite sure what it needs, and you think it's going to take a couple $1,000s to repair, and you don't know if you should bite that bullet or bite a bigger bullet and trade it in, I'm your man. You give me a call, and we'll go through the steps, and we'll discuss the pros and cons of spending money to keep your car running or to keep your car alive. And I say alive because we get so many cars in our shop that come in on the hook. And I can categorically say that more than 60% of those vehicles, maybe even 70% would be the threshold of those breakdowns, could have been avoided with proper maintenance. And I know you hear folks in my industry talk about that all the time, but that's what it really takes in order to add life to your vehicle, for lack of a better way to explain it. I'm going to take a call from George, but before I do, we have a special $50 gift card giveaway today from Auto Value Bumper to Bumper. Auto Value Bumper to Bumper wants to remind you to replace your brake hardware with every brake job, and I am on that same page. In our Car Clinic Service Pre-Repair shop, we use and we recommend and we replace the brake hardware whenever we do any brake job. And often overlooked, folks, brake hardware is all the supporting components in, on, and around the caliper and pads that help properly align the brake pads and then retract them away from the rotor for smooth, reliable, quiet, and efficient brake performance. It's a really small investment to ensure your brake job is complete and done right the first time. Available at participating Auto Value Bumper-to-Bumper stores. And the winner of the $50 gift card giveaway from Auto Value Bumper to Bumper is Mindy Eden. Mindy, congratulations. Now, let's go to George. George, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Good morning, Bobby.
Good morning, sir.
Thanks for taking my call.
You're most welcome.
Listen, I'm giving you secondhand information.
Okay.
My son has a 1988 Honda Accord.
Okay.
And he said he just come back from a trip, and he said it just about a mile from home, it just stopped, and it just chugged and chugged. He finally got it home, and he said he called a friend, and the friend checked it for him. He said, well, your coil has a yellow flame. And he said, I think it's your coil. It should be blue. And he changed it, and nothing changed. He changed the gas filters, and that's it. And he said he's still doing the same thing. We just want a little information. I don't know. There's 1,000 things, I guess, but I'm just asking you.
Well, George, glad you did, because, there are 1,000 things it could be. But when I think of Honda and I think of an 88-model automobile, the first thing that comes to my mind, because those cars are so reliable and they just keep ticking and ticking. However, having said that, timing belt. I think of timing belt. And so what I would do if I were to check that vehicle out, and here's what you have to go back to basics. We have to have compression, we have to have fuel, and we have to have ignition. And when we have all those things, most likely the engine's going to run, unless the exhaust is completely restricted, and that just doesn't happen in those cars. So I'm going to say that the first thing that I would do is run a compression test. And here's the challenge. Let me ask this question. Are you saying that it doesn't run at all, or runs so poorly it may as well not be running?
It runs a little bit, and then it stops. It completely dies.
Well, I think the first thing, as I said, I still would go back to basics because I would be really of a concern that the timing belt has either slipped a tooth or so, and then it would never run correctly. It would run and then it would die because everything's out of sync, and that's I think that's an easy job for your son to check. I say that with a little reservation because timing belts can be sophisticated, and on some cars, Subarus specifically, I can tell you from experience, twin overhead cam engines can really be challenging to make sure that everything is properly and in time, and we're talking about sprockets and cog belts, and it's called a Gilmore belt. So what I would recommend for your son is to run a compression test on the engine. And I don't know if he's capable or has the equipment to do that, but that's what I would do. I would also recommend that he get help, professional help, and remove the cover and just inspect the timing belt. And I think that's an easier to do than anything else. And that way you're not throwing parts at this vehicle because, as you said, to start with, it could be 1,000 things. So that's what I would do first. I would run a compression test. Well, I think first I would look at the timing belt and make sure that the cam was in phase, and then I'd run a compression test. And then from there, you get into the electrical side. And because it's an 88 model automobile, I'll put one more bug in your ear. It could well be the distributor assembly because those engines have problems with ignition, and that ignition assembly is all one unit. And the good news is you can buy the complete distributor assembly aftermarket, and it's a plug-and-play unit. But I don't know that I would go out and just buy one and on the come, because then you start throwing money at the vehicle. So again, first things first: timing belt inspection, compression, and if the timing belt's okay and you have good compression, then you mentioned spark. So I would consider the distributor assembly, which is what literally runs the car. Any questions?
Yeah, Bob. I gave my son the car, and I had the timing belt and water pump changed in 2008.
Okay, how many miles ago? Do you have any idea?
87,000.
And it's got how many now?
Oh, I put it on in 64,000, and it's 87 now.
Well, it should still be, and you said the key word, you did it right. You put the kit on, so you didn't just put a belt. You put the water pump, the pulleys, and the kit, which is the only way. That's the only way that will replace a timing belt, because it's no small feat to get in there. So while you're there, you better do the whole job and do it right. It sounds like you did. So that points me in a direction toward the distributor assembly. But I still would run a compression test just to make sure we've got a base solid engine.
Okay. Thank you very much, Bob.
I thank you very much, George. Thanks for your confidence in me. Let me know what the actualities are when we get to the other side. 888-227-2546. North American International Auto Show in Detroit. And Christiana, Car Clinic's production manager, recently spoke with Tony Johnson with the Chevrolet Colorado, I'll get it right, Colorado marketing manager. And Christiana recorded that some questions and some time and some information. So, Christiana, if you would, let's roll that interview for our Car Clinic guests.
Welcome back to Car Clinic, Tony. Thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Tony, the Chevrolet Colorado has been winning awards and a lot of praise. Share with Car Clinic listeners and viewers why the new midsize truck has received so much attention.
Yeah, so I think the biggest award that we've gotten so far to date, obviously, was the Motor Trend Truck of the Year. That's something we were really honored to receive. And in talking to the editors of Motor Trend, I think what they kind of picked up on was something that we really set out to do with this truck, which was create a game-changing vehicle. I think from the start of the program, design and engineering and all that, we really had that top of mind. We didn't want to just come out and do just good enough product here. We wanted to come back to this segment and really flip it on its head and bring a product to market that was going to reinvent this segment. So, to that end, we have great technology technologies in our vehicle, things like 4G LTE Wi-Fi, safety technologies like lane departure warning, forward collision alert, and then technologies down to our powertrains where, with our 2.5-liter four-cylinder, the direct inject and dual overhead cams allow us to get 27 miles per gallon on the highway, which is the best fuel economy of any gas pickup out there. So those are the types of things that I think the editors picked up on and said, wow, this truck really is going out and reinventing a segment, not just coming back and bringing a so-so product.
Well, it truly does seem like the perfect truck for so many buyers. Lots of options, including a diesel. Is there a certain demographic for this truck, or does it have a wide-ranging audience?
It's actually very broad. That was something we discovered early on in our research that, we couldn't really narrow this customer down to a specific age range. But what really tied them together was this active mindset. They're the type of person who, they're not going to come home after work and just sit down and watch TV for the night. They're likely to get up and go and do things. And for some of them, it's outdoors activities, it's mountain biking, it's camping.
Mm-hmm.
For some of them, it's maybe more mundane activities like gardening and do-it-yourself projects and that type of stuff. But the point is, these people are always active, always on the go, and that's really where the truck comes into play. It helps enable all of that for them. They use the truck bed to haul materials, to bring their bikes, their gear, and then obviously the truck capability gets them where they need to go to have these active adventures.
And would you say the truck drives more like a truck or an SUV crossover compared to the full-size trucks?
Yeah, that was a goal we had early on. The reason for being for mid-pickup, definitely different than with the full-size pickup. Full-size is a lot more about capability and having the spacious interior. With the mid-pickup, we looked for something that was more maneuverable, more efficient. That's definitely why the customer is making a conscious choice to buy a mid-size pickup. It's not that they can't afford a full-size. It's just it's not the right truck for them. It doesn't fit in their garage. It doesn't fit into their lifestyle. It's hard to park. It's harder to maneuver through traffic. So to that end, we really set out to make this Colorado drive a little more like a crossover. Obviously, it still has all the capabilities you expect from a truck, fully boxed frame, can tow up to 7,000 pounds, but it's much more maneuverable and obviously fits in your garage a lot easier than a full-size pickup.
And let's talk about the technology. Is the Colorado a connected car?
Yeah, so we have 4G LTE Wi-Fi available on the Colorado. Comes with most of our trim levels. Our mid-level trim, the LTE, and up all come standard with the 4G LTE Wi-Fi. It's a great system. It allows you to connect up to 7 devices to this Wi-Fi hotspot. What I like best about it is because the antenna is roof-mounted, you actually get a stronger signal than you would with your cell phone, which allows you to catch a signal. Maybe you're out camping, a little further off the grid, your cell phone's not getting the best signal. You're probably going to get a stronger signal with the Colorado, which means better data speeds, better connection reliability, just an all-around better experience for the customer.
And just one last question. What's a good website for our Car Clinic audiences they can go to find out more information about the Chevrolet Colorado?
Yeah, so Chevy.com/Colorado is our homepage. We've got all kinds of great product attribute pages on there, things to really help educate the customer on all the great qualities we have in this Colorado. So we've got a fly-through video, we've got some great accessories materials, anything the customer, any questions they have will get answered there. Really will help educate them on all the great benefits of the new Colorado.
Great. Well, I think that's all I have for you. Do you have anything else you'd like to add or tell our listeners and viewers?
Motor Trend recognized us as the truck of the year. What I encourage people to do is to go out and drive it. To me, that's the best way to educate yourself on this truck. There's nothing like sitting in it and driving it and comparing it to the competition. We're really confident that if you do that, you're going to walk away knowing that the Colorado is the winner, hands down.
Well, thanks again, Tony, for being with us today, and I'll let you get back to that auto show.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate your time.
That's really cool. Great job, Christiana. That's really interesting. And what interests me, folks, is he talked about the 7 devices, the 4G LTE, the Wi-Fi. And I had learned of that last year sometime. We had some folks in from GM. But I hadn't really thought about what that would do for your existing phone. And when he talked about the roof-mounted antenna, and that would power up the car better and your phone better than normal, that makes a lot of sense. And when you think about the electronics and what we're enjoying and seeing in today's automobiles, the connected car, it's called, the safety factor is just another bonus that you get when you buy new cars. We'll take a call from Chris, who has an 02 Lincoln Town Car with a jerking motion. Chris, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Hey, good morning, Bobby.
Morning, sir.
At this 02 Lincoln, and a little difficulty sometimes. It's above 30 up to about 45 miles an hour. When I'm driving slow, I get kind of a jerky-like motion. If I drive fast, like I accelerate
right.
normal traffic, I have no problem. Drive all around, get on the interstate, go for several days. So I have this intermittent problem when I'm driving. Just when I'm driving very slowly, and accelerating, and it's just around 35 up to about 45 miles an hour, I'll sometimes get this jerky like motion.
You know, so many people, and this is not the first time that I've had this complaint. And what happens, that's in a tender spot for the lockup converter, the transmission, and the upshift of the transmission. So, and it's similar, your symptoms are similar to a caller that I had earlier that had a vehicle, I think it was Robert, that had a vehicle that he thought was bad gas, but really it could have been a lean mixture. It was a misfire, and I thought he had coil problems. Your particular vehicle, the town car, did have coil problems, ignition problems. That vehicle also has had, in addition to coils and spark plug problems, and spark plugs, I can tell you, you do not want to go there because some of those engines have extended tip spark plugs, and part of the plug, I'd say like the end joint of your finger, almost an inch, it extends into the cylinder. I'm not sure that your particular car is in that group because Ford had that design change along the way, and then it didn't work. But what happens when you take the old spark plug out, some of that breaks off and stays in the cylinder, and then it's catastrophe. So having said that, I got to believe that what you've got is a little bit of an overactive EGR valve, a little bit of injectors that are not as clean as they once were, and a little bit of coils. Now I've just thrown in the mix a lot of components, but those are the top of mind. When you say I've got an 02 Lincoln Town Car that if you nail the throttle, it runs okay, but we don't go around nailing the throttle. We go around following traffic, and I'm with you on the 35 to 50 range. So I would first try a good fuel system cleaner. I don't know if you've done that or not, but that's an easy to do. I would certainly replace the fuel filter so that you could get a blood work on the old fuel. And what that means, and folks, if you have your car in, and those of you who are in the service industry, one of our biggest fail-to-dos is to change fuel filters on automobiles that we work on and tune in. Hey, that's the end of the hour. It's a fast hour, but another one coming up. I'm Bobby Likis. Likis, you'll love us for the next hour.
This is Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Bobby Likis Car Clinic is a copyrighted presentation of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated and may not be reproduced or rebroadcast without the express written approval of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated.
Fortune 500 companies choose Royal Purple lubricants to protect and improve the performance of their multi-million-dollar equipment. The same high-performance technology is also available for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, or ATV. Royal Purple enhances performance and provides superior protection for anything wrapped in metal. Royal Purple is the performance oil that outperforms. For independent tests and endorsements that document Royal Purple benefits, go to royalpurple.com. That's royalpurple.com.
I'm Bobby Likis, calling all technicians with 20 facts about ethanol. American ethanol producers are fully engaged in the race to the next generation. Since the ethanol molecule is identical across sourcing types, many existing ethanol biorefineries are exploring bolt-on technologies that will enable production of ethanol from both grain starch and cellulosic material at the same facility. I'm Bobby Likis with 20 facts about ethanol, brought to you by the Renewable Fuels Association.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
What's the most amazing thing that's happened in our age? The Berlin Wall coming down? No. Genome Project? Hardly. How about that little pill that's given your grandfather the drive of a 14-year-old? Not even close. The most remarkable advancement may be the technology that allows you to effortlessly plan and book your own travel. It's Travelocity and allows you to beat the travel system. Their product, called Dream Maps, shows you every destination available to you for the amount of money you have. Calendar-based shopping allows you to find that elusive low fare and tells you the date it's available. Travelocity puts more than 700 airlines, over 50 rental car companies, 5,000 vacation and cruise getaways, and in excess of 50,000 hotels at your fingertips. It allows you to go places you never knew existed, to discover places you absolutely would not have discovered before. Travelocity.com. Go virtually anywhere. AOL keyword, travel.